Oh my goodness. Welcome to Choice Change in Action podcast. So you're with me, you have me solo today. And I also want to say thank you to so many of you who have reached out and um, have verbalized, written, etc., your gratitude for this podcast that I do, Choice Change in Action. And there's been so many changes occurring throughout the world, the universe, and definitely in my world, and especially not especially, but in the last month, I just got off the phone to my amazing friend, Dr. Dan here, and he's on a flight. He's just about to leave Australia and head to America and see our other friend, Mr. Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, which he's like, I'm so excited. There's been so many changes here, and with the classes, Access Consciousness classes that we've done in the last month, and I'd like to talk to you guys today about some of the changes, give you some questions to ask, and you know, maybe show you a different energy of what is available to you. Because so one of the things that we did was we went out to Ilaru, which is in the Australian desert, which is very funny because so many people are like, this is a desert. Because how many of you have the point of view that a desert should be, rolling hills of sand, etc.? That's what we see in the movies, right? Well, the Australian desert is not quite like that. In fact, this time they have had quite a bit of rain and it was really green. It was pretty incredible. So it's got trees, it's got green, it's sparse, definitely. I like to say it's got that big land energy where you look out and it's like, whoa, it just goes on and on and on and on. And then also, what does that bring? Big sky. By the way, I've been in the desert a few times now, and look when you choose to go of what you desire. Like I've been there when there's a full moon and you can't see any stars. The moon is so bright. In fact, at one time I remember we were staying there and I said to my friend, hey, do you want to turn the light out outside? And he goes, Simone, it's the moon. And I was like, oh wow, it is so bright. This time we went, I think about 2 weeks after the full moon, and the stars were incredible. Milky Way was right over Ilaru, and Ilaru is this big, massive, 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 massive. They say anywhere from 500 to 650 million years old, like different parts of it. It's a sacred site for Indigenous in Australia. Well, for all of us, I'm going to say, for anyone who is willing to be aware, it is such an incredible place to be. And I really want to reiterate that, to be. You can hike around it, not up it, around it. And then there's another place in the national park called Katajuda, which you can hike over there too. And so right now, what I'd like you to do is, as I talk about Ilaru, you don't have to have been there. You don't even have to know what it looks like, but I say Google it. Why not? Tap into the energy that it is, because there's an energy that this big, massive rock shows you and gives to you of what are you making relevant that's not? What are you currently judging that if you stop judging it would give you a different reality? Like, what could you be choosing that you haven't been choosing? And all of these questions I would love you to play with, because we tend to get so caught up in the trauma and drama, whether that's with friends, family, relationships, financial, politics, all of that. We tend to get caught up with that and make that more of our reality than the reality that we can choose and that we can be is so different. And one of the things I will quite often say is, don't trust me, trust you. Okay. And I will still say that, don't trust me, trust you. As I talk, if there is something that lightens up in your world, receive it, be it. You ask questions about it. And what I want to ask you is the universe changing? Is there a different possibility available for all of us now? And is it like now? Not in the future, it's now. It's like, so what are you not choosing today that you could be choosing that would change your future and the future here on planet Earth. And everything it doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, proverts, creations, bases, and beyonds. Don't forget, that's the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can find out more about that at theclearingstatement.com. That's what it is. We'll have it in the show notes anyway. So let me take this moment to say, please subscribe. You'll get the show notes, etc. Subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can watch me or anyone else who's on my podcast, and share it if you can. Write a review. Love you to write a review. And thank you. I just want to say thank you so much. So if you tap into the energy of Ilaru, and you can do that through me talking about this, you have the ability to tap into the energy of anything across the world. And if you're going, oh, how do I do that? Think about someone that's close to you that is maybe not in the same room as you, on the same house as you, on the same vicinity as you right now. Can you still tap into them and know where they're at, receive from them? Okay, please acknowledge your psychic abilities. You have them. And you are literally a billion times more psychic than you're willing to acknowledge. So then now it's like you can tap into all the oceans and the seas across the world. And it's like, what does that feel like in your body? What are you aware of? Now tap into the energy of Ilaru. And as you walk around Ilaru, and we did it quite a few times, and it was, a couple of times we did it super early in the morning, and it was dark, and walking in the dark was incredible. You could also perceive not only the energy of the rock, but the energy of the whole land underneath our feet and the history, the past. It's a place where there's this energy of like bleeding time. There's some places around the world which what we would say is bleed time, where you have the ability to perceive past, present, and future. Places like Paris or Rome have that as well. Like when you go to the Colosseum in Rome, it's you're seeing the Colosseum today, and yet you can perceive the energy of everything that was past as well. So it's like what you call bleeding time, if you've never heard of that before. So what Ilaru seems to give you is this bleeding of time, this bleeding of space. And that bleeding of space when you're like, how did it get to be this o'clock? Or where did the time fly? Or wow, day is going so slow. Okay, time is an invention, by the way, guys. And there's so many different clocks around the world that people work on, or calendars even, from the, calendar in the Middle East to the Christian calendar to the Mayan calendar, all of that. What if that was an invention to structure our realities rather than allow our realities to have that magic and the miracles and the chaos that is actually possible? So if you have a bleeding of space as well, then you can be aware of all of that. It's not about resisting calendars. It's not about resisting, I've got to be somewhere at 4:00. It's not about that. What I want you to do is open up to a different perspective and a bigger perspective that is actually your perspective, your reality. So as you're, tapping into the energy of Ilaru and you're walking around, it's like, even now, it's like you're listening to this podcast wherever you are in this beautiful planet, this beautiful world of ours. What are you aware of? And again, what are you making relevant that's not relevant? What if it was time to stop functioning from the worries and the woes that we seem to create with relationships, with finances, the emotions, the feelings? What if it was actually time to start truly being us, being you, and choosing from our awareness of what we can perceive, what we know, what we can be, and what we can receive? Now, if you look at the bleeding of time and the bleeding of space, what if there's also this bleeding of receiving, a bleeding of being? So what bleeding of time, space, being, and receiving are you? That if you chose it, would allow that different universe and different reality to show up for you today. And everything at that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, ProVeds, creations, spaces, and beyonds. Wow. I always love it when I run a process and like I'm on my own here, but I'm literally tapping into the energy of all of you that will be listening to this week or in the future as well. Yeah. Okay. So again, the question of what could you be choosing that you're not choosing? Like, how many of you are not totally choosing to be all of you? All of you? How many of you are pretending to be something that you're not? Like, interesting enough, there's some people who are always trying to prove that they're nice, and there's some people who are always trying to prove that they're an asshole. What if you could be all of it? What if you didn't eliminate any of it? Because all of that is actually based on judgment. So I am going to talk to you about a class that I have coming up next week. It's called Out of the Box. Now, to give you a little bit of history here, when I first met Gary Douglas, it was at a Mind, Body and Spirit Festival in Sydney, Australia. And I had my business, which was called Good Vibes for You. And, you know, if you've been listening to me or following me, you'll know it's like I had all these stickers and merchandise, etc., that I perceived could change people's realities by, you know, reading these words and embracing it, which to an element is true. You know, you get inspired by certain things, okay? And then I met Gary Douglas and I was like, holy shit. It's like everything he was talking about, including the clearing statement, by the way. So if the clearing statement you find weird, that's okay. I found it really weird too. But maybe go to the website, you know, watch the video with myself and Dane and see if it changes something in your world. Like, what if you just chose something different today? What if being out of the box is choosing something different today? What would you choose? So when I met Gary and I heard him speak for the first time, like at a seminar he did, and I was like, wow. For starters, this guy was irreverent. He swore and he said, don't trust me, trust you, which was so refreshing. And that's why I will reiterate that as much as I possibly can, because I am not looking for you to trust me. I am not looking for you to have blind faith in me at all, or access consciousness at all. You know what you know. Like the tagline of Access Consciousness is empowering you to know that you know. It's about you choosing, about you choosing, about you choosing, about you choosing, right? It's like there are so many tools, there are so many questions, there are so many, you know, processes, etc., that we can run. But ultimately, what your life, your living, your reality comes down to is what are you choosing? Like even just look at today. Okay. When you woke up this morning, what did you choose? Did you choose the same thing that you always choose? Or were you in question? Did you choose for you? Or did you think about somebody else before you chose? Okay. There are so many aspects of where we will eliminate ourselves and disassociate ourselves from our very being. And there's all these lies that we have been told or we've told ourselves of, if I actually truly choose for myself, that means I'm choosing against. You're not. If you choose for you, you show others that they can choose for them, including your kids, including your partner, including your family, your colleagues. Notice how when someone actually truly chooses for them and chooses for, I want to say, like if you let consciousness lead you, what would you choose? You choose from the lightness, not from the fight, not from conflict. You choose from what is light in your world. It's always this invitation for other people to be like, ooh, they chose that. What would I choose? So what could you be choosing today? What would you like to choose today? What if there's one thing that you chose today that was just for you? Just one thing. Start with that. A great tool also is 1 hour a day, 1 day a week. Choose something that is just for you. And guess what? You don't even need to tell anybody. You can if you desire, but you don't even need to tell anyone. Just choose something that is for you. 1 hour a day and 1 day a week. And right now, as you're listening to this, I just want you to not judge. This is not about judging. Just go through what you've already done today Did you choose it? Or did you let somebody else choose it for you? Did you choose what you've always chosen? And you can start with something like, most people have some sort of ritual in the morning. Like first thing I'll do is get up and have a shower and then usually make a coffee, right? So notice even the usually. Anywhere that you put usually, you stop being in question, okay? So what I started to do is ask my body, okay, so do you want to have a shower right now? Or, the answer is probably yes. It's a good way for me to wake up. And then coffee. And it's like, I love coffee. I'm one of those people who goes to bed at night going, ooh, I get to have a coffee in the morning. So that's me. I don't judge it. I choose it, but then every now and then I don't have a coffee, or I only have one and I have a small one or something. So, and I know it sounds so minuscule, but if you start being in question for something as simple as, do I want coffee, tea, or a water in the morning, or I don't know, a beer, like whatever. If you start being in question, then you'll start to be in question about every area of your life. Okay. And again, it's not about being in judgment. So everywhere that you are judging your choices, will you please destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, proverbs, creations, spaces, and beyonds. So when I met Gary Douglas at Mind, Body and Spirit Festival, and I was like, oh my goodness, this man is amazing. And he was everything that I knew was possible. So he was having a class the following weekend called Out of the Box. That was the first 2-day class of Access Consciousness that I ever attended. It was in Sydney, Australia. And by the way, you can get it on the access.me app. If you don't know what the access.me app is, we'll have details of that in the subscription notes as well. It's phenomenal. It's like a few $100s a month, and you receive literally 25 years of pretty much 99% of the classes that we've done, except the last 2 years. So the classes I've done, Gary, Dane, a few others, Christopher Hughes, etc. There is so many classes in there. There's the old, level 2 and 3 that is in choice of possibilities. That's now choice for possibilities. There's this class. There's the out of the box class. So you can find that. Actually, we'll find it, hopefully, and put it in the subscription notes as well. So if you have the access.me app, you can go straight to it. So anyway, this was the first class that I attended, and I sat right near the door because in my world, I was like, this is so different. This is so weird. And I could so perceive that my whole reality was changing. So I wanted to be able to escape really quickly. And I remember sitting there, it was November. I mean, we're in an air conditioned place, but I just started like perspiring, like sweating. And I know now it was how much my whole life was changing from this class. And one of the things that we spent 2 days on was judgment. Because how much have you judged your life into existence that has kept you from truly living? Because you would judge what's right and wrong rather than actually choose what you simply enjoy, what is living to you, okay? And living to you and for your body as well. Gosh, if you look at, relationships, how many relationships have you chosen, or people you chose to have sex with, and, you're like, oh, not my smartest choice, okay? Did you judge it or did you laugh about it, In business, it's like how many different projects or businesses have you started, or jobs, etc. If something didn't work out the way you perceived it should, did you judge it? Or did you have a little chuckle about it and ask a question of what's right about this I'm not getting? Every time you ask a question, you increase the possibilities of what else can show up. Okay. So, I mean, even for example, I am selling a house at the moment, and hopefully maybe by the time this goes live, it'll be sold. It's an investment property that I have, and we had a buyer that was coming in, almost signing the contract, and then he went to sign the contract, and then he asked for a lot less. And I was like, no. And my real estate agent was like, no. So I was like, okay, let's have another opening. Let's go. And I said, well, what's right about it we're not getting? Let's ask for the magic and the miracles to show up, and ask for the house to find its owner. I know the real estate guy is just like, you are so different. Yeah, I am different. Are you willing to be different in every single situation, or are you only choosing to be different when you are in the comfort of your own home, or in the comfort of the people who you perceive know you? What if you were willing to be different no matter where you are? What if you never judged you for your choices ever, and you were choosing to be you no matter what it takes and no matter what it looks like? What if you made that demand of yourself today? No matter what it takes, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to choose for me. I'm going to choose to be as different as I am. I'm actually going to discover what that is for me. Because if I stopped functioning from the point of view of what I usually do, what would I actually choose? So everything it doesn't allow you to acknowledge that, perceive, know, be, and receive it, read, destroy, and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, proverbs, creations, spaces, and beyonds. So this out-of-the-box class, we spent 2 days of running processes on no longer judging, coming out of judgment. And it was absolutely incredible. So I am going to do a class. What shows up will show up. It's a 3-part tally call series. So we'll have that in the show notes as well. It's actually happening next week. And I'm really looking forward to it, because for me, being out of the box is you never choosing from a reality that is not yours. If you look at your whole life, it's like, how many times did you choose based on your family or based on your friends? I mean, one of the insane things I know I used to do when I was much younger was, if I met a guy that I liked and I started dating him, instead of me looking at my reality and going, hey, is this person a contribution to me and my body? Am I enjoying this? Or, is this pleasurable? Asking all these questions, I would literally check in with my friends to see if they liked him. So I wasn't choosing for me, I was choosing for others. Okay. And it's like, how many ideas have you had in business? And you don't have to own a business to have an idea, okay? How many ideas have you had? And do you check in with others to see if they like those ideas? What if being out of the box and choosing to be out of the box was never having to check in with anyone ever again for what it is that you would like to choose? Now, here's the thing. Choosing is not about getting it right or wrong. It's just about choosing. What if your reality, a different reality, a new reality for you, is being out of the box and choosing, and then you get to find out what works and what doesn't? And that's, to me, that's the adventure of living, It's like, whether it's a movement with your body and you choose it and you go, oh, okay, that wasn't very much fun. Okay, so maybe do it slightly different, or don't choose that again, or maybe that's not for you. Like, if you look at certain sports and activity with movement, some people love running. Some people love swimming. There's one. I can't swim that long. I'm a really good swimmer, but doing laps in pools I find it really boring. Whereas I've got 2 friends of mine who love doing laps in pools. They will do lap after lap, and they find it like this sort of like meditative state, where they will just look at things and have different things go through in their head, and you know have a moment with themselves, right? It's like being on their own. Whereas for me, I would prefer to go hiking and have that. I love going out into the bush, and I get that same sense. But that's what works for me. That's my reality. That's what works for them. That's their reality. Okay. So whose reality are you currently choosing for, that if you stopped and you started to be in question and ask what actually works for you and your body, would create a really different reality? And like I said, is it now time for a different reality? The universe is changing. Are you changing with it? Or are you waiting for somebody else to change before you choose? What if you chose today? What if you chose to be out of the box and no longer function from anybody else's reality except for yours? Again, choosing for you doesn't mean you're choosing against. Okay? Like, as you choose for you, you show others that they can choose for them. So, last thing I want to say here is, please look at the relevant thing. Like, what are you making relevant that's not? Look at money. In regards to money, what are you making relevant about money that keeps you in judgment? Relationships. What are you making relevant about relationships that keeps you in judgment? Business. What are you making relevant about business that keeps you in judgment? Family. What are you making relevant about family that keeps you in judgment? So what if you could eliminate all of that? You can still have a business, a family, a relationship, money, all of that. But anywhere that you're making something relevant, you're creating this limitation and the judgments. And it's a smaller world. You don't need to have the smaller world. You can have a huge, uber abundant world that literally is about living and being you and jumping out of that box. So please, 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 please start choosing for you. Thank you so much for being here. I freaking adore you guys. I am so, 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 so grateful, and I will see you next time. Thank you.